Ever wondered how to make the perfect slow cooker barbecue pork sandwiches with crunchy coleslaw? Well, you're in for a treat. This mouth-watering recipe will yield 6 servings, perfect for a dinner party or a family meal. It starts with 2 pounds of boneless pork shoulder or butt, trimmed of excess fat. To flavor the pork, we'll use a blend of brown sugar, chili powder, garlic, kosher salt, and black pepper. The magic happens in a 5 to 6 quart slow cooker, where the pork is cooked until it's tender and shreds easily. The coleslaw, a delightful mix of mayonnaise, sour cream, granulated sugar, cider vinegar, and coleslaw mix, adds a crunchy contrast to the tender pork. Finished with a generous helping of barbecue sauce and served on soft sandwich rolls, this dish is a symphony of flavors and textures. Stick around and discover the secrets of creating this savory delight. The journey to a mouth-watering barbecue pork sandwich begins with the pork. Now let's give our 2 pounds of boneless pork shoulder, or butt if you prefer, the tender love and care it deserves. The first step is to trim off any excess fat. Why, you ask? Well, while fat can add flavor, too much of it can make your sandwich greasy. So we trim it down to strike the perfect balance between flavor and texture. Next up, we're going to create a rub that will not only impart incredible flavor to our pork, but also help tenderize it. We start with a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar. This will caramelize on the pork, giving it a sweet, sticky crust that's simply irresistible. To that, we add a teaspoon of chili powder for a hint of warmth. Don't worry, it's not enough to make it spicy, but just enough to complement the sweetness of the brown sugar. We also add a chopped garlic clove, because let's be honest, what's a savory dish without garlic? And of course, we season with kosher salt and black pepper. The salt not only seasons the meat, but also helps to break down the proteins, making the pork even more tender. Once we've given our pork a good rub down with these flavors, we add a 1/2 cup of cider vinegar and 1/2 cup of water to the slow cooker. The vinegar not only adds a tangy note to the pork, but also helps to tenderize it further. As for water, it creates a moist environment for the pork to cook in, making it ultra tender and juicy. Now comes the best part, the slow cooking. This method of cooking allows the pork to tenderize over a long period, resulting in meat that's so tender it shreds at the touch of a fork. You can cook it on high for 4 to 5 hours, or on low for 7 to 8 hours, depending on your schedule. Now, while our pork slowly transforms into a tender masterpiece, let's move on to the coleslaw. No barbecue pork sandwich is complete without a side of crunchy coleslaw. It's the perfect companion, offering that refreshing crunch and tangy taste that balance out the rich, smoky flavors of the barbecue pork. So, let's dive into the process of making this coleslaw. It's a simple recipe, but the combination of ingredients is key to achieving that perfect balance of creaminess, sweetness, and acidity. First, we're going to need mayonnaise and sour cream. These 2 ingredients form the creamy base of our coleslaw dressing. The mayonnaise imparts a rich, velvety texture, while the sour cream adds a lovely tanginess that keeps the dressing from becoming too heavy or overwhelming. Next, we add a dash of granulated sugar for a touch of sweetness. It may seem a bit odd, but trust me, the sugar really helps to round out the flavors and enhance the overall taste of the coleslaw. For that characteristic tangy kick, we'll need some cider vinegar. The vinegar not only adds flavor, but it also helps to slightly break down the coleslaw mix, making it more tender and easier to eat. Of course, we can't forget about seasoning. A bit of kosher salt and black pepper are all we need to bring out the natural flavors of the ingredients and add depth to our coleslaw. Once we've whisked all these ingredients together, we add our coleslaw mix. This is typically a blend of shredded cabbage and carrots, but feel free to use your favorite mix. Toss everything together to make sure the dressing is evenly distributed, and voila! Our coleslaw is almost ready. But here's the trick to getting that perfect crunch: refrigeration. By chilling our coleslaw in the fridge, we allow the flavors to meld together and the cabbage stays crunchy. It's the perfect counterpoint to our tender, succulent barbecue pork. With our coleslaw chilling in the fridge, it's time to return to our now tender pork. It's time to bring all of our components together. Now that our slow-cooked pork is tender and easy to shred, let's get to work. Grab a couple of forks and let's dive right in. The pork should fall apart effortlessly under the gentle pressure of the forks, creating delicate, mouth-watering strands of flavor-packed goodness. Take your time here. Shredding the pork properly will ensure every bite of your sandwich is tender and succulent. Once you've shredded the pork, it's time to add an extra layer of flavor with our barbecue sauce. The rich, smoky, sweet tang of the sauce will envelop the shredded pork, turning it into a juicy, irresistible filling for our sandwiches. Mix it well, ensuring every strand of pork is coated with that delicious sauce. Now, let's build our sandwiches. Start by placing a generous amount of the barbecue pork onto the soft split sandwich rolls. The rolls will soak up the sauce, becoming a part of the sandwich rather than just a holder for the filling. Next, it's time to add our crunchy coleslaw. The cool, tangy crunch of the coleslaw provides a delightful contrast to the warm, tender pork. Spread it over the pork, letting the creaminess of the dressing mingle with the barbecue sauce. Remember that coleslaw we made earlier? It's not just a side dish, it's an integral part of this sandwich, balancing out the richness of the pork and adding a refreshing crunch. To serve, we're adding bread and butter pickles and potato chips on the side. The sweet tang of the pickles and the salty crunch of the chips are the perfect companions to our sandwich, making every bite a symphony of flavors and textures. And there you have it, the perfect slow cooker barbecue pork sandwiches with crunchy coleslaw, a feast fit for any foodie.